All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. I am Alexandria Duque, a CHCI Public Policy Fellow. I'm delighted to be with you guys today for the Viva la Innovación, Latino Entrepreneurship in the Digital Age session. This panel isn't particularly close to me because I'm currently working as a communications fellow on the Hill, one of the very few Latinas working in Hill Comms. I also wear a few other hats in my roles. I am also an intelligence analyst in the Louisiana Army National Guard, a self-taught makeup artist, and also have worked in the service industry as well. And in all these roles that I've held, I've really noticed that it's the authenticity that you bring to the table that really pushes these boundaries and pushes forward our Latino community, and no matter what you're doing. And these panelists today have also done the same thing and have held true their own authenticity in their roles that they each hold. It is now my pleasure to introduce our opening speaker, Mercedes Garcia, Vice President of Community Relations at MasterCard.
Thank you, Alexandria. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Very nice having everybody here. So it's a pleasure being here with you, and a bigger pleasure to co-sponsoring this session with these amazing other companies, as you already saw. As many of you know, MasterCard is a global technology company in the payments industry. We are not a credit card company like many people think. Hopefully, we're helping to change that. Our mission is to connect and power an inclusive digital economy that benefits everyone, everywhere, by making transactions safe, simple, innovative, and accessible. We are all about technology. That's why I'm so excited about this session, as Latino entrepreneurs continue to grow as a powerful force in the digital age. More and more Latinos are launching innovative startups and leveraging technology to achieve economic empowerment. MasterCard has been supporting small business in many, many ways, particularly around technology and electronic payments. We know that competing in the digital economy, this world, is very essential for small business owners. And to succeed and grow, they definitely need to pay a lot of attention on that. So that's why, among many things, we launch programs to give them access to the resources they need to set up shop, to grow their shop, and accept digital payments and manage their online presence in a smart and secure, especially, way. Working with our partners, we're also delivering in-person training, webinars covering a wide range of topics, for example, with our dear partners from Square and many others. So it's really, really important. So as most of you know, Latino-owned businesses continue to outpace the growth rates in terms of the number of businesses and revenue of U.S. businesses at large. So nearly 5 million Hispanic-owned businesses in the U.S. contribute more than $800 billion to the American economy annually. By 2050, Hispanic entrepreneurs will make an estimated 29% of the U.S., up from 17% today. Among Latino-owned businesses, 19% own tech firms, and while among non-Latino-owned businesses, only 14%. So, however, there's still significant and unique challenges that Latino entrepreneurs face, from lack of or very limited access to capital, as well as technology resources for successful business growth and development. Just as a quick example, according to a Stanford study, when Latino entrepreneurs open their businesses, 70% of their business funding comes from personal savings, while just 6% comes from commercial loans. So let's just think about that. I'm very much looking forward to this conversation with these amazing panelists. So let's welcome all of them.
That's great. That's great. Well, perfect timing, because it's now my pleasure to introduce our our moderator, Rocio Medina Van Nerup. Rocio is the co-founder, president, and CEO of Latinas in Tech, a nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering and connecting Latinas in the technology industry. Rocio has dedicated more than 15 years to change the system from within, working with Latinas and allies at 200 plus companies in the tech ecosystem to create fair and inclusive environments. Please welcome Rocio Medina Van Nero.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry for getting ahead of the game. I'm very happy to be here today. I want to thank the organization to put together this panel. This conversation is extremely important to address in this forum and in general. Latinos are an extremely important part of the American society. If we were a single economy, just Latinos in the US, we would be the 5th national economy in the world, above the one of France, just under the one of Germany. We have been growing, innovating, and really forming part of the innovation process in America. And we have done that despite a lot of challenges that we have faced. So today in this panel, we're going to be showing clear evidence of what the successful entrepreneurs have achieved, as well as data, hard data, that not only proves our successes, but also those challenges that I was referring to. So to do this, please allow me to introduce you to Yanis Yoka, Senior Director of Product Strategy at Moody's.
Hello, thank you very much for having me here and for giving me the opportunity to discuss this topic, because although I'm with Moody's, I'm coming from the entrepreneurship world. So I have been an immigrant in the US, so I have faced some of the challenges that many are facing here. And it is very interesting to see that although Latinos are something like 20% of the US population, for the last 5 or 6 years, the amount of VC capital money that are going to them are about 2%. And yeah, that might be, let's say, more than the amount of money that are going to women, which is also 2%, or Afro-Americans, which is something like 1%, but it is still extremely low compared to the, let's say, the representation of the population in the States. And there are some other things that are very interesting to mention about the representation issue is that we are seeing that in 2021, something like 70 or 75% of all the VC money went to companies in California or in New York or in Massachusetts, and only the 35 went to the rest of the US. And in 2022, that number, fall from 75 to something like 65, but still it indicates that if you are not, living in one of the major metro areas, then most probably you will not get funded. And on top of that, even if you manage, let's say, to be in the right city of the right, let's say, color orientation, then you have to go to a very good school, because the first question that usually VCs will do to you is where you went to school. And that's a bit problematic, because if you have been to the best schools and you are, a WASP in Boston, most probably you will get the money regardless. You don't need to go to pitch a VC. And that's a problem that affects both Latinos and all other, let's say, communities that don't have that strong representation. So I'm very eager to contribute in these discussions.
Thank you, Yanis.
Thank you.
I'm also super happy. Yes, clap, please. Welcome, Yanis. Then we also have Rodrigo Salas, fellow Mexican. He is from Northwest Arkansas, Executive Director of E4All, a nonprofit organization. Welcome to the stage. Tell us a little more about
Thank you, Rocio. Again, my name is Rodrigo Salas. I am from Mexico City. I've lived in the U.S. for over 20 years, and the last 3 in Northwest Arkansas. I lead an organization that is called Entrepreneurship for All in Northwest Arkansas, and it's a nonprofit that helps small business owners to start and grow their businesses. And when I say small business owners, I mean, the mom and pop businesses that make our communities unique and different and thriving. And our programs are run simultaneously in English and Spanish, so we can have a greater impact in our community. And it's all focused on breaking 3 different barriers. The barrier of business knowledge, so the limited access knowledge that they have. the limited social and business networks that they have, and the limited access to capital. So that's how we're trying to help our entrepreneurs. But it's a pleasure to be here and happy to be in this stage.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo. Now, I would like to introduce you AJ De Leon. He is the CEO of Innovación. From this panel, our first entrepreneur, one of two that you will meet. So, AJ, welcome to the stage.
Gracias. Hi, everyone. ¿Cómo están? I'm AJ De Leon. I'm the CEO of Innovación. Innovación is an education technology company headquartered in Chicago that helps school leaders, principals, superintendents, board members make better decisions for students. In today's America, 4 out of 10 students are part of our community. So it's really critical that the schools that we attend are well managed and are supported by leaders who are empowered. Most of them are women. I see a lot of Latinas, a lot of chingonas here, like we say in Mexico, right? Yes. So you are the leaders, you are the future, and it's really not, a mistake to empower a woman with the tools she needs, because then things happen, right? We all know that. So for me, it's super exciting to be here to share, especially with you, my fellow sister from the Stanford program, a Latina in tech. Because, in my company, as a matter of fact, as a tech entrepreneur, I'm proud that my company is led by, empowered by people of color and women, which is very different. If you're looking for a job, go to Innovación SIP. We're hiring. And we're really excited. And just a little bit about my story without taking more air and I want to hear from you. From the conversation is I grew up in Mexico. I'm from the city of Juarez, right next to El Paso, Texas. So I'm a borderplex region native. Now I live in Mexico City, actually. I'm a digital nomad. But my company continues to be powered and headquartered here in the US because we know the influence that our country has across the entire continent. And it's really important that we have a strong presence. So I'm really excited and honored to be on this stage with the rest of you as well.
Thank you so much, AJ. And last but not least, a true Latina in tech, co-founder of Chica Beauty, Tony Lee Jimenez. Thank you.
Yes, it's so exciting to be here. Again, my name is Tony Jimenez. My sister, Maylon Jimenez, is right here in front. We love to say that we're sisterpreneurs. So we're both the founders of Chica Beauty, and we're also the co-CEOs of Chica Beauty. So it's an honor that we have been invited by Amazon to be here to share our story as entrepreneurs. And again, just give a platform to Latinas. Again, we have the highest buying power in cosmetics and beauty, and yet we are one of the only few that actually founded a beauty company too. So we are really embracing this new platform. We're excited to be here to share our story. We really want to inspire and encourage all of y'all. If we're doing it, you can do it. Our motto is get it, Chica. That's our motto. So again, I'm excited to share more about our journey and what we're seeing, and how, again, we can just hopefully empower all of you to go out there and get it, Chica, and Chicos too.
And chicas.
Yeah. So thank you again. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Tony. And I would like to stay with you because at this panel, we're going to be talking about not only being an entrepreneur, being a Latino, Latina, but also in the digital age. So as an entrepreneur, please share with us how it was to grow your business and what was that interaction with technology, with advantages and challenges that you might have found.
So I like to also say I'm pretty much a serial entrepreneur. So before my sister and I actually started Chica Beauty, we had a magazine called Chica Girl Magazine. And talk about innovation and technology, that we launched that in 2007. And we were the first online magazine, and there was no iPhones at the time, so it was very innovative. And when we tried to explain it to people, no one ever understood what we were trying to accomplish. So what we usually hear in businesses too is if you're too innovative at the time, it doesn't always work out. And it ended up working out. We had Chica Girl Magazine for 12 years. But again, now that we transitioned from the magazine space, we are now entering the beauty space. And sometimes you don't think about technology and what we're seeing too, but we actually do incorporate it into the business side of things, what we're trying to see what our customers like. Maylon and I go to a lot of conferences. We're really out there. We want to really embrace it because we know we're here for longevity. We want to be here, and we're excited about the new technology that's coming out too. And it's just important. And again, I think I'll share it again multiple times, but as Latinas running our own businesses, we have our family. Family is really important to us. Doing it all, again, I feel like we are trying to be role models for young girls again, Because if we're doing it, like y'all can do it too. And we're excited for this journey. And yeah.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Latinas, I'm impressed with the representation of female Latinas. Si se puede, she se puede. Thank you for being here. Now, I'd like to go to AJ. As a CEO of Innovair, tell us a little bit about how was it to fundraise, to get capital to your organization and then expand it and maintain it as a Latino founder?
Yeah. Well, like Yanis was saying, it's hard. You know, there's only about 1.5% of Latinos actually get venture capital. So just to give you an idea, there was about $200 billion given out in about 2 years ago, in 2022, kind of 21, 22 fiscal year, and only about 2% or less actually went to people of color, period. All of us combined. So think about that's almost like you blink and you don't see it. You know, it's like literally invisible. And so it's not because we are less smart, less innovative, right? It's because there's racism. It's literally a racist systemic problem. And we need to call it what it is. We need to say that this is a problem in order to fix it. And so what I did is, as we Mexicans and Latinos and other people of color, is we're very resourceful, right? And we find the workarounds. So you know what I saw is, okay, there's 2%. Who are the Latino and Latina and people of color powered VCs? Let me go after them. So I literally went after all of them. There's not that many. There's about 2%. And I have about 90% of the 2% on my cap table now. I'm very proud that my largest checks are from Latinas and Latinos and Black people and LGBT funds like Gay Angels and Chingona Ventures and Vamos Ventures. And if you Google these people, these are the people who are funded by Apple, Google, Amazon, Bank of America. So I was thinking, who are their funders, right? Being strategic, not just about who they are, but also when I win, they will win and they will get more money. And those large corporations are gonna know my company. And that's exactly why I'm here today. Yeah. Literally, Google sponsored me coming here. And you know, when I landed in DC and I had a black car pick me up, it was my first time that happened. You know, it was like, is this really happening? You know, but it really was an actualization of a dream. The idea that us, as people of color, as Latinos, as Latinas, we can do anything we want, to your point, but we have to be strategic. We have to use the data.
Yeah.
And that is what I did. And to be honest, I'm sure that if my investors and maybe their proxies are here, would hear, they'll be proud because our company has, you know, raised $5 million over 2 years, including the last year during the economic downturn. We have investors in Mexico City, across the world. And like I mentioned, the top funds for Latinos are part of our company. And also the fact that it's an education-focused company is really important because a lot of investors don't invest in social impact focus or marketplaces or things like that, but we are creating those companies too. We don't need another Uber, another Tinder, right? Another dating app. We need an app or we need a company that helps our community thrive, that is going to help our companies not just succeed, but have an impact on the entire economy. And so for me, you know, I didn't want to use my genius, my brown genius, right, and black genius because my co-founder is black, you know, to create something that was not going to have an impact. Yeah. So for me, it's not just about the money, it's about the impact, and they're not mutually exclusive. You can raise the money and you can have the success so you can raise more money and empower your people. You know, I'm noticing that my designer is texting me, she's a queer Mexican woman. So to be able to have the person in charge of your app be a woman from your community and you hire that person, that really gives you a sense of pride that you cannot pay with money. And so what I would tell you is, you know, raising money is hard. And by the way, if you want me to connect you with any investors, happy to do so. And trust me, my investors will like that because I will close with this. Sometimes we think that there is a zero-sum game, that if you get a check, you are not going to get a check. I believe in the abundance mindset. The idea that if you get a check, you're going to tell me how to get that check from somebody else. Yeah. right? So for me, that is, I want you to, if you walk away knowing anything that I said today, is that we need to change the mentality that we have. And when you hear about a scholarship, an investor or something, if it's not for you, it's for somebody else. Find the person that's gonna take advantage of that opportunity, because that karma is gonna come back to you and they're gonna try to help you.
Oh, beautiful.
So that abundance mindset is really part of my slogan, so to speak, for this answer.
This is really great, and I would like to emphasize something. We keep hearing 1% of people in the U.S. are Latinos for the 2% of the investment goes to Latinos. 2% of Latinos work in tech. We're always 1% of board members are Latinos. Like, we're always 1 or 2%. And if we focus on the fact that we're little represented and that our chances are low, we might not want to try. Ignore that and be like him, like AJ saying, well, I don't know about the stat, but I'm going to do this. So flip the script.
Flip the script.
Stats do not define you. And once you're there, open the road for others. That's amazing. Thank you, AJ. Now, thank you. Now, I'd like to go with Rodrigo. No, sorry. Yeah,
Sí.
yeah, you were left out. I don't even remember
Unless you
who
wanna go
spoke
with
already.
someone else.
No, are you ready? Let me double check. I did do all of you. Yeah, Rodrigo. So Rodrigo works for a nonprofit, and they focus on SMB entrepreneurs. Now, being a tech entrepreneur that appeals to the masses, I talk about venture capital, is a little bit different conversation about challenges they face and the opportunities they face. So, Rodrigo, tell me about the mom and pops, the family-owned businesses that make us America. What we make great of it. I hate that slogan, but we do make America great. Tell us, what are their opportunities? What are their challenges as well?
Well, first of all, fantastic what you said about the abundance. I think it's very spot on. It's definitely important to share the wealth and not keep it to ourselves. But anyway, so something that we've seen with the small businesses in general, and specifically with Hispanic-owned businesses, and I mean, this is not news to you. You've seen this. Latinos are the hardest working people that are, constantly pushing, never afraid of trying to succeed and start a business and continue building a business. But at the same time, they face humongous challenges. The traditional challenges that every other minority group faces, including women, BIPOC people, and other groups, like access to capital, like knowing the right people. The right people, it's really, really important. But add to this, many of the Latino and Latina owned, because by the way, 8 of every 10 businesses that are opened by Latinos are Latina-owned. So Latinas, you are the ones who are powering the economy, the small business economy in the United States. But anyway, so those add to the challenges. Oftentimes, a person that is an immigrant, they don't understand the system. They have a complete different perspective on the system that they are operating in. And as such, they don't know who to go to for permits and small things that they need to do in order to be able to open their business. Things like banking, for example, they are afraid of using the banks because of what happened in their home countries, of what the experience that they had in their home countries. So they keep everything under the mattress, all the cash, and they operate with cash. And that's something that Mercedes was talking about. It's limiting their ability to grow and to expand their businesses because they have all these other systemic barriers that are not allowing them to be successful. But going to the positive side, they're resourceful. Fortunately, our Latino people, we are very resourceful, and we find ways to go around things. And they are starting to adopt technology. And that's what I was so excited when the Walton Family Foundation asked me to join this panel, is because the technology is everywhere, and everybody's using it, but everybody's using it in different ways. So our Latina and Latino entrepreneurs, the small business owners, they're adopting, cashless payments, and they are adopting social media promotions, and they are actually using it more often than the non-Hispanic small business owners. So they are using a lot of the technology, but they are so limited in the access to some of those basic infrastructure needs that they need to connect, like internet connection, for example, broadband. Many of the Latino business owners, they don't have internet connection at their homes, and if they do, they have dial-up or something with that speed. I don't know what's the speed of dial-up, but it's really, really slow. So they don't have the power to really take the business to the next level. And the skills that they have to use technology as well is something that they need to. They haven't had a computer. Oftentimes they use their cell phones. They rely on their cell phones to connect to internet. So all those things are limiting the ability to grow those businesses and to take them to the next level. So I'm going to stop there because I know that we have a lot of other things to discuss, but just to get you thinking about all the challenges that the small business owners are facing when they start a business. So it's way beyond than just access to capital. There's a lot of other issues that are affecting the growth and the development of those businesses.
This is so interesting. And here in our audience, given the nature of this conference, we will have a lot of lawmakers, staffers of lawmakers, interns, people looking for policies. This is the digital divide. This is a very important area of focus. Not only 2% of the capital goes into our community, but there are not that many entrepreneurs looking for it. We could be 10% of the people looking for this money, but we need the access to technology so that more and more entrepreneurs come and get educated with organizations like yours so that they can become another AJ, another Tony. Now, I'd love to go a little data, and Gianni, let's touch on this topic that is very interesting. So you mentioned 2% of VC money goes to Latinx organizations, and you mentioned that most of that money gets concentrated in the 3 metro areas. You said San Francisco, New York, and Boston.
Yep.
And then they also care about where you went to school. So as we both went to the Stanford program, I'm going to pull up some data from the latest Stanford report on the state of Latino entrepreneurship. And I have a graph right here that shows how Latinos that ask for funding to major banking institutions in the US are showing to have the highest and strongest financial. So this means, I had it right here. Here it is. So this means that they have the highest gross revenue. They have very good stats in personal collateral, insurances, and so many things that they're looking for to give you loans in comparison to white applicants. Despite, and of course, as any banking professionals here, they will know that the stronger your financials, the more likely you should be to receive investment. Yet, 85% of applicants, so entrepreneurs, founders, 85% do get funding of over $500,000. But only 67% of Latinos that applied with stronger financials get it. And this happens the same thing between 100,000 and 400 and 500,000, 79 versus 71%. The gap is even higher between $50,000 and $100,000. 78% for whites, 40% for Latinos, except the only one that is flipped is $50,000 or less. So there is where we do get the money. So only very few people get it, and then they get very little.
Right.
So, and nobody goes to those Ivy League schools. there's many people that are not in those metro areas, and yet they are thriving. Even Latinas are growing 6 times faster than other than non-Latina or just non-female
Yeah.
in general. So tell me about those stats, because they are not intuitive.
Yeah, I would say that smaller amounts indicate that these are brick and mortar companies that they are primarily financing, and they are not, let's say, aiming to support scaling organizations like AJ's. And I think that this inherent bias, it's something that even the federal government has, understand in a way. That's why they are promoting the whole CDFI, let's say, scheme in order for community development financial institutions to support companies in their proximity. And we at Moody's, we are very, strong believers in that regards, and we have a program that's called CORE that is supporting CDFIs to expand their capabilities in order to serve these underserved communities the best possible way. So yeah, we think that there are attempts by creating, this alternative financial system to the traditional financial system, to the main street banks. But is it enough? I don't think so. But it is a good start, to say the least.
Yeah, and Tony, let me go back to you as a Latina, as a founder that introduced a lot of digital technologies to a field that was, not typical woman technology. How was it for you as a female, and how was it for you as a fundraiser?
Yeah, so it's funny we're talking about fundraising and getting that venture capital. So Milan and I are actually in the stages right now too. So it's always that next step in your entrepreneurship journey, right? And a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we go through the same things, and kind of just stepping back too, we're on panels with other big businesses too, and a lot of the times we're going through the same journey, but obviously on different scales. So it's interesting because the problems that we're facing is also problems other big businesses are facing too. And yeah, again, just going back to obviously being a Latina, I think that just like it motivates me and Milan to continue doing what we're doing. And again, as we said, in the beauty space too, again, the highest buying power, and yet we're one of the only Latina-owned makeup businesses. So we continue to even like embrace that even more, especially the part about being a role model too. And I like that you're open book. We love sharing our entrepreneurial journey because we know it's, again, a lot of us are going through the same things, and we want to share our knowledge with you too. So I think that's just really important that, Milan and I, that was one of the pillars that we're doing too. And it's interesting too, and not to go back to, but we actually do a lot with Bank of America. And they've actually been really supportive as far as small businesses. So it's an interesting thing too, and I think there is an interesting dynamic that big business, or they are embracing Latina-owned because they recognize the power that we have. And again, it is kind of going twofold too. Our growth helps their growth, and it gives back. And Milan and I love to say we're more than just a makeup company. So we actually partner with a lot of nonprofits. So we give back too. We volunteer our time. We speak to inner city girls. It is about us. We think we're inspiring them. They're the ones oftentimes inspiring us. But again, it's just we know the importance of giving back, and we want to continue doing that. And yeah, and it is just building your brand and where you find your marketplaces too. And that's, again, I'm going back to Amazon, but we are Amazon sellers as well too. And it's a very, we're glad we're part of their journey with us. Because again, as we keep evolving too, we want to keep up with technology and things and where our customers are going, and that's where they go to shop. So it's just being aware of things too. So yeah, I'm excited for later because we do want to share as much as we can. Because again, we really want y'all to be successful in whatever endeavor y'all do too as entrepreneurs, or even outside of entrepreneurship too.
That's the real spirit, huh? Pay it back. Open the path for more and more entrepreneurs. And what we need is more entrepreneurs, more money. Dinero. Okay.
Mula.
So we're 10 minutes. We have 10 minutes left for our panel, and then we'll go to Q&A. So before we do that, I would love to hear your takeaways. What do you want to leave behind as advice, not only for you as people, but also for you in your job, what policy ideas you would want to recommend. And I would like to start with AJ.
Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna go. Well, first, just know that it's possible. You know, I think we talked a lot, and I know that we don't want you to walk away remembering all those 1% and 2% and all that, like you're saying. Remember who we are, like as a community. You know, we are resourceful. We will find a way. If there is a wall, we will jump over the wall. That is literally what we do. And you don't have to teach us, coach us, cultivate us. We are fine the way we are right now. And so we need to own that, because if we don't own that, we're not going to walk into that VC, bank, whatever it is, with the confidence that we need to get the money and to get the deal. So I think as entrepreneurs, number one thing is know who you are. Like, do that work of understanding yourself, who you are. Because that is what's going to sustain you, because you're going to have ups and downs. There's going to be years where you're not going to sell. There's going to be things that happen. You're going to get a bunch of no's. I talked to 200 VCs, and I have 14 on my cap table. So there's a lot of rejection, you know, so get used to it, you know. And, you know, so number one advice, know who you are. Number two, in terms of policy, we need to talk to our political leaders. I do a lot of that, to be honest with you. And it's great because in Illinois, where my company is headquartered, they have an innovation funding. They have tax credits for angel investors, which my investors want to take advantage of. I'm part of the Illinois Trade and Commerce Commission. You know, so I try to be on things because that is what's going to get you in the room. And I always say, I don't want to just have a seat at the table. I want to change the entire seating arrangement. Okay? So if you're sitting right there, now you're going to be sitting over here, and I'm going to be sitting next to you, so you can make new friends and have a different perspective.
Lovely.
So, and thirdly and lastly, you know, the technology piece. We must, you know, be more demanding with our schools and our higher education organizations, so they prepare our children to not just be the TikTok users, but the TikTok producers. We need engineers. We need people who are STEM career oriented. They don't have to go to Harvard or MIT, but they need to understand that their genius is valuable. And so those are the three things that I would say. Number one, know yourself. Number two, get in the room and stay there and open the door for others. And thirdly, we cannot forget that we are the future. We know the numbers. So if we're going to stay as workers and not thinkers, that is our choice. So we need to choose differently.
Lovely. Move from consumers to makers.
That's right.
I love it. Thank you. Rodrigo, what about you?
Well, amazing words. But I have to say, the first one to me would be everyone in this room has accomplished something. And that's why you're here. And I think that something that I see over and over again, especially with our newer generations, well, not especially with our newer generations, but younger generations, is that they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that they can achieve anything and everything that they want. So go back, when you go back to your home, volunteer at your schools, and talk and inspire those students that are there and show them that it can be done if you are willing to do it and if you're willing to work for it. So that representation, I think, it's key because oftentimes, you know, if you don't see it, you don't believe it. Mm-hmm. And when they see that a lot of Latinos are being successful, that they're being at whatever they do, it doesn't matter if you're a business owner, if you are working here at the Capitol, whatever you're doing. I think it's inspiring those kids to dream and to show that they can achieve whatever they want. And as far as as policy goes, I would love to see some changes with the Small Business Administration. I think that a lot of times I see this over and over again, that a lot of this Latino, specifically Latino and minority-owned businesses, they don't get the funding that they need because First, the SBA is not necessarily the one who's disbursing the loans. It's giving it to other organizations to do that work for them. And those organizations, who do you think they hire? Not Hispanics, not African American, not Asians. Therefore, they don't know how to connect with our communities, and they don't care, really, oftentimes. So they don't do any efforts. They don't make any efforts in connecting with the community and to really getting that money to who really needs it. So I would love to see some changes on the SBA and also continue investing on the broadband infrastructure and having more, providing more access to internet and to fast speed internet that our entrepreneurs and anybody really in our country can use for whatever they need. But more importantly, I think it's believing. And I think that the big thing for me is and I'm working this in our community, and I know it's a small change, but we're working on a program to really inspire those students. And it's not only for Latinos, it's for Marshallese. We have the largest Marshallese community in the country outside of the Marshall Islands in Northwest Arkansas. And they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that they can be whatever they want to be. So they do whatever their parents tell them they can be. And sometimes it's not enough, So encourage everyone around you to dream big and to go big or go home.
This is lovely. I love it. Hold financial organizations accountable and narrow the digital divide for policymakers. Janice, let's close up with you.
Yeah. So as an entrepreneur, I would say that.
Sorry, there's still Tony.
Yeah, of course. So as an entrepreneur, don't do it for the money or for the startup lifestyle. Do it because you are passionate about what you want to build or to do or to, craft or whatever. Because it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So if you don't believe it, because there are many rejections, you need a very strong stomach, you will fail. So it is important. From a policy perspective, I would say that you have to think who is financing VCs. So VCs, they need LPs and limited partners. In many cases, they are the pension fund of teachers of whatever state. You, the Latinos, you are part of that state. You are part of that school system. So push for these organizations to provide money to VCs or similar structures that are financing your own communities, not just what they know these GPs to do, the managers of the VCs to do. Awesome. That would be my suggestion.
Thank you. And now, Tony, let's close up with you.
Well, Giannis, you kind of took some of what I was going to say, too, but I guess more from the entrepreneurial side of things, I feel like it's true. You have to be passionate about what you do. You have to believe in the bigger picture of what you do, because you'll go through those ups and downs. I mean, there's times where Meilani and I, we have our moments, we cry, and then something very exciting comes our way, and it's very exciting. So you just, again, you have to believe in what you're doing. You have to have, your goals in mind, too. And I'm just so lucky because I'm actually doing it with my sister. I think that makes it a lot easier because we have the same morals. Our parents raised us. Again, the importance of giving back to our community, which is central to Chica Beauty. So again, I feel like you truly have to believe in it, and you have to go out there and hustle sometimes. We have a hustle set, a makeup set, and we called it hustle for that reason. So yeah, and again, I just believe in what you're doing. There's going to be challenges out there, but again, we're proof. We're doing it. You can do it too. Get it, Chica. Yes.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much. So this concludes our section of Q&A. So now we want to flip the stage, and please, if you have any questions, go ahead. There's a microphone in the back, so you can line up, and please.
Be nice.
He'll take that answer. He'll take that.
Hi.
Right.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Tara Hernandez. I'm part of Synchrony Financial, and I focus on digital product integration for small businesses. So I have an interest in this topic outside of being an entrepreneur. And my question for the panel will be, as an organization that essentially is a partner to small businesses who, in my space, represent also Latino business owners. What can we do as partners to help facilitate the advancement of Latino businesses?
The advances of what, sorry?
Of Latino businesses.
And you're a financial company?
Yes.
So you want to know from your
wanna
side.
Take that, Rodrigo?
Sure. Well, I think that, I was talking to Mercedes earlier before the panel, and I think one of the things that I see that it's a very powerful tool for providers like yourself to help entrepreneurs is, for example, on the financial education. It's really important not only to show, the importance of building credit, and but also like going to the essence of things. So separating personal from business, and setting up a structure that is going to be that is going to help your business, grow over time and make it successfully. So I think that collaborating with organizations in communities, helping in educating those individuals in ways that they can have a better impact with the use of technology for their business. I think it's the right path to do it, but I think it's something that it has to be done in conjunction with other organizations. It's something that has to be something that I think it has to be done is building this network of support that can, together push forward the Latino small business owners.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Can I just share one thing?
Yes.
Sorry, just because everything is happening right now too. I think an important thing that would be beneficial and kind of what we've seen with Bank of America is they actually ask small businesses. They ask us like, what do you need help with? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? What resources can we offer to you? So I feel like having that conversation with the small businesses, I think that'll really just make it work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hola.
Ooh, that's loud. My name is Amy Araya. I am a television attorney with Disney National Geographic and love what I do, but I'm fortunate to work for a head of legal who is a woman of color who encourages us and says, look, find a side hustle, find something that can also assist in creating generational wealth because we have a team of people of color. And that's been lacking in recent years. And I'm curious because I've always leaned into these big corporations because it provides a sense of security, but there's this ingrained fear and like imposter syndrome that unfortunately exists in our culture. How do you get over that hump to go out and create this amazing product or service and ask for funding from VCs and elements like that?
I can jump in on that. I think, the imposter syndrome is really an American phenomenon, to be honest with you. I grew up in Mexico, and so I saw kids, I saw adults, I saw doctors who looked like me, teachers who looked like me. And what I noticed is when I immigrated to the US, all of a sudden I was sort of brownified and made to feel inferior in some way. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is just a geographical change. It's not a psychological change. So number one thing is I think we need to unlearn and reject that there is an imposter syndrome. Respectfully, I think we need to say, our community actually can lead because we are multicultural, multilingual, female, etc., and we have more assets than deficits. And I think, that's, again, just flipping that switch, number one, is important, believing, whatever you want to call it. But secondly, from a tactical perspective, I think you're doing the right thing, which is we understand the systemic racist, it's not just data, there's racism, it's discriminatory. If we don't call it what it is, we're in Washington, you know what I mean? We have to call it what it is so we can address it. But we create those programs, right, that address that side hustle. So I'm gonna say a bunch of them, I hope you guys remember them. There's Visible Hands, Google for Startups. There's, all sorts of accelerators. And by the way, you can go, shortcut.
What is it?
Go on my LinkedIn or my company website, innovaresip.com. You'll find me. You'll see who we are alumni of. Apply to those programs because that is, I'm sure there's a lot of young people here in the audience. You're wondering, like, how do I become an AJ or a Rodrigo or a Rocio or a Tom? there's actual work you have to do, and you have to learn about marketing and sales and legal and all sorts of stuff. So these accelerators exist for us. Visible Hands is a great one, that you should know about. It's specifically for people of color. And so that side hustle, it's not accidental that Google and other companies actually encourage their employees to use 10% or more time to just be creative and do that stuff. So I would say, advice is number one, reject the imposter syndrome. Really walk away out of this room today knowing that is not real, okay? Second, understand that you can actually do a side hustle and then invest in that side hustle to actually develop into a real thing. And by the way, if it's not working, leave it alone too. You need to know when to walk away. I always tell my people, there's actually a student of mine here sitting there who came to see me. Now as a consultant, works for PricewaterhouseCoopers and all these big companies. So trust me, it can happen. But my point is that side hustle sometimes is not for you. You need to know when to step up, step back, or step aside from something. You know what I mean?
You need our hustle makeup set, see?
Yeah, and you need the hustle makeup. By the way, you should give them your website.
ChicaBeauty.com, everybody, ChicaBeauty.com.
And support the businesses that are led by people like you. Yeah.
And I strongly suggest to check with your university. Most universities, they have entrepreneurship programs in order to provide a safe space for current students or alumni.
And you will be surprised about how many entrepreneurs like them are willing to help out, introduce you to investors, advisors, coaches, new clients.
By the way, I dedicate 2 hours of my schedule every week to do exactly that. So 30 minutes appointments, they're all booked until December. But there are people who are willing to do that. And I actually ask, and I have an ask for you guys, if you're an entrepreneur, you should do that. You should actually dedicate time to help others. And it could take 2 hours of your calendar, but you never know what that's going to actually give you. Yeah. So, but you have to be intentional about it. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Thank you. Thank you. We go to the next question.
Hi, thank you so much, panelists, for speaking here today. My name is Brian Lopez. I'm a current CHCI intern. I'm also a finance student at UNC Charlotte, which is a university in North Carolina. My question, so for context, I have a mentor who's an investment banker. He's an investment banker with one of the largest private equity firms in the US. And he was explaining to me when he was recruiting that oftentimes they had 5 target schools, all of them were Ivies, and if it didn't have an Ivy school on the resume, it just got tossed out. And so my question to you is for students, particularly Latino and Latina students who are looking to get into investment banking and venture capital, either whether to work in that space or to be a client within that space, what are kind of your suggestions to circumvent that system in order to be able to stand out in those spaces?
So because I'm coming from a non-target, non-US school, I would say that the first thing that you have to do is to find, a financial institution either on the investment side or the asset management side that is close to your university and check the alumni network. That is the best starting point. That, especially given that you are in a US university, that is, years ahead from where I started. So that will definitely give you access to people that are already in some of those organizations. They might not be in tier 1, IBs, but they will be in IBs. And then, as you are proving yourself, being a target or non-target school doesn't matter. From a point on, from the point that you will enter the market, where you went to school, it becomes irrelevant. What matters is how you perform and what you deliver, what is you.
And I would add, I think networking is super important. So opening yourself to meeting people, opening yourself to meeting people of all sorts of backgrounds, it's essential for the success of anyone. And just to give you another source of another organization that you can use as well is look up for Endeavor. Endeavor is a Latino-owned organization, and it's an investment fund that was started in Argentina, and now it's I don't know how many countries around the world, and they have different offices in the U.S. as well. So Endeavor, their whole purpose is to give opportunities to minority, not only entrepreneurs, but also investors to get involved into that system, to get a foot on the door in that system. So check them out. That could be another option for you as well. But networking to me is essential.
Absolutely. And also there's many venture firms that are led by Latinos, like Chingona Ventures, Samara Hernandez. There's Latitude Ventures. There's many, well, I wouldn't say many, but there are investment firms that focus on spreading wealth for Latinos, and we really need them to be strong. And also keep pushing, because we want that Latino inside all our VC firms, because Latinos invest in Latinos way more often. So thank you for trying that, and I hope the best for you in that path.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name's Anna Antigua. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams in Charlottesville. I'm nicknamed the Traveler's Agent. Latinos are a demographic that saw nearly a decade of consistent home ownership growth. The Hispanic home ownership rate reached 48.6% in 2022, marking 8 years of steady home ownership growth. In Charlottesville, we have faced many hurdles, specifically creating home ownership opportunities, specifically for our tax ID clients. I know a lot of the challenges we have come from rules and regulations in place at a higher level. And I know you mentioned wanting to see a change, for example, in the Small Business Administration. So my question is, how would you recommend making a change on a larger scale?
This is for the housing market?
Yeah, I'm a real estate agent.
Yeah.
I have challenges because we have been successful and have recently launched a 5% down payment for tax ID individuals in Charlottesville, which is huge, but the interest rates are way, way high for them. And to qualify is really, really hard. I know a lot of the regulations and rules in place are what hold us back and hold our clients back. And it's more talking about like going to the government and trying to see these changes happen and trying to convince them to let tax ID people be able to obtain home ownership.
Yeah, and I just read a stat that home ownership within the Latino population is increasing. My question was, though, by reading that report, is how does that compare to other demographics? I don't think we're real estate experts, but I wonder if there's anybody in the room that has banking knowledge on like loans for Hispanic population for home ownership. But I do think that what you mentioned is a good question and advice for SMB administration. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, because you're asking about policy and
exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
so not specifically real estate. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you talked to your representative or someone in your city?
Yes,
you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds, this is just my intuition. Yeah. You seem to be the expert at this, and you're asking us to affirm you. You are the expert, girl. Like, it's clear you've been doing the research. I mean, like, keep doing it.
You just want to know where your voice
exactly.
needs to be heard.
You know what?
Right?
Like,
right.
just hear it from us. Keep doing that, because you might be sitting there at the Capitol doing the policies that you're asking about right now. That's what I'm picking up right now, based on how you set up your question and how articulated and sophisticated you are about it.
You're in the right place. Yeah. This is where you want to lobby for it.
Yeah, even like your congressman. I mean, there's someone like probably in-house that deals with that type of, and that's who you need to reach out to, it sounds like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would suggest to check, there is a company called Home Lending PAL. And that might be interesting for what you are.
Home lending.
PAL, like your PAL.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And we have 1 minute left for our last question.
And it's going to be very quick. Hi, it's Mercedes again.
Hi.
Long time no see,
what would you, what would you say is, in your experience, are the key behaviors that are keeping us Latinos not achieving the growth and the success and everything? Is it like the sponsor, how to say, the syndrome? Is it, oh, it's okay, there's a lot of other people that know more than I do? Or, no, I'm making little money, so maybe that's enough. And so what do we need to do, a kick in the colita to people and say, you can do it?
Yes.
You're Latino, you're creative, you're amazing, you are, out there, like when we see mariachis and we stand up and, yell and sing. What do we need from a behavioral perspective to tell our Latino brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I already can feel it. I know.
We're fired up over
Yeah,
here.
I'm like, I think the biggest thing, and I don't know if it's a Latina thing or if it's just what it is, but I know like my sister and I, we can be very hard on ourselves sometimes. Like we are perfectionists about things. We just did a big spotlight for a very huge company and we nitpick it apart because we're like, no, we want it to be the best it can be. And I feel like sometimes we need to step back, and others, when they see it, they're like, no, it's great, like you're doing it great. But I think sometimes it's our own pressure that we put on ourselves. So I don't know if it's a Latin thing or it's just like an us thing. But I think that's like the biggest struggle too, is like just take time to appreciate what you've done too. And I feel like don't be so hard on yourself. No one's perfect, no one's perfect. And I think sometimes we have to realize that because we put our heart and soul into our business. And I think that's why we take it so hard when it's not what we think it's gonna be. So I just say, it's fine, everything's gonna work out, but you do just believe in yourself, and it's just your own thing that you just need to get through.
I would like to build up on that. As a Latina or Latinx, it doesn't matter, we are programmed by our mamás and papás and abuelitas, calladita, te ves más bonita, heads down, do the best work you can, because the boss will come and tap you on the shoulder and say, you're gonna get promoted tomorrow, and we don't ask. We don't ask for what we want, what we deserve. I want that project, I want a raise tomorrow. And 90% of raises are given when people ask. We're playing a different game, people, different rules. We need to learn those rules so that we can benefit equally. Imposter syndrome, as AJ said, is in you. Most of it is in you. Stop listening at all those doubts and flip the script. Like, I have an accent, hell yeah, you speak more than one language. How many do you speak? Flip everything to your advantage, and then you're like, holy cow, I'm actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Go and ask, and own that script. That is my personal,
Yeah.
I know I'm not very
Yeah, I don't think we're doing anything. Like, I don't think our community is guilty of something. Because that is, like, again, not flipping the script. It's like, we live in a society where we are not in power. Okay, look at what's happening in the Capitol, look at what's happening in banks. So what we have to understand is, what are we gonna do about it? To your point, it's like, how are we going to leverage our assets? And as a community, I think we have not yet done that. So maybe I kind of have rejected that question, because I don't think it's us that are doing something, but I do agree that we can do more. And to your point, like, if you don't ask, you don't get. And one thing that we haven't been taught is to how to ask and get. Yeah. Because you can also ask and get rejected, and then that goes into that imposter syndrome piece. And so you talked about performance results. I can tell you that, going to Harvard and all that, it's important. I do believe that education, go to wherever you can go and get in and get it paid for and all that other stuff. But whatever it is, you have to show results. In VC and tech, if you're not growing, you're dying. That's literally what the VCs think. So if you're not growing, you're dying. So if it's always like, you gotta be moving, you gotta be, and so know if it's for you, you're that kind of person, like you're the person that somebody tells you no, you're like, oh, watch me, If you're that kind of person, then get into this sort of dark side, so to speak. Because you're gonna thrive in that space. But if you're the person who doesn't like that, or who's gonna get rattled or all that, again, step aside, because that is not for you. It's really hard. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. Tech, VCs, all that stuff. You're mostly gonna see people who don't look like you, who don't understand where you're coming from, all that stuff. But what you can do is say, you know what? I'm gonna do this. It is for me. I own this, and it's going to happen. And in my, if anything that I said today impacts you, is just know that you can do it, and also have the technology, because that's another thing. If you don't have something that people want to buy, right? It's not, you can have all the dreams in the world and be in the right room and all that stuff, but you gotta have an app that works, that it actually makes people happy, saves them time, money, whatever it is. And that is a technical thing, and so that we didn't talk a lot about that, even though it was a digital divide type of focus panel, but you need to have that technology person. In my case, my co-founder worked at Google and is my brother too. So to your point, it's like, but he was the engineer, you know, and so that was our family plan. Like, I'm gonna do the impact one, you're gonna do the technology one, and we're gonna come together. Not everybody can have that story, but if you don't know somebody today, and if you're interested in tech, start meeting those people, because you're gonna need a technical person too.
Thank you so much. We're
Can
out
I
of
say
time.
something
Oh,
really fast?
Yes,
And
sure.
and I do, so something that I do feel like us as Latinos, we can do better is planning. I think that we are very eager to work and work hard, and we're not afraid of working, you know, and going the extra mile to do whatever we need to do. But something that I see time and time again, and I include myself because I'm a small business owner as well, and I did the exact same thing that I'm saying today. So I didn't stop and think. And I think that that's something that we really need to strive for. Stop, think, what we want to achieve. What are the goals that we want to achieve with this business or whatever that we're doing? Because that's going to help us keep a focus on where we're headed and how we need to get there. And if we don't plan, then we're shooting, you know, to the sky, and hopefully we're going to hit something, but we're not really trying to do something. So I would encourage people, if you're, regardless, if you're planning for your retirement, if you're planning to start a business, whatever you're trying to do, stop and think. Take a minute, take an hour. It doesn't take long, but it's going to make a big difference in the outcome at the end.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Big applause. Thank you, Rodrigo. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Janice. And please do tweet about this, hashtag CHCI Hispanic Heritage Month 2020. No, 23. Thank you so much.